Should I tell you all how this came about? When Rameshji was 90 years old, for his 90th birthday, which was the year 2007, I decided for myself to write an essay on what I felt were the core concepts of his teaching, what I had imbibed. And I was quite surprised that this essay didn't take much time at all. It was very short. I just took the key pointers, listed them down as I understood his teaching. Now, till then, it had been about 7 years since I was attending satsang on Sundays. Then the thought came to me to send this essay to the only spiritual magazine in India at the time. That was the magazine called Life Positive. So I sent it to the editor saying, this is an essay I've written on my spiritual guide's teaching. And if you feel it worthy enough for publication, I would be grateful to you, because it is his 90th birthday celebrations in May. Now, I had no expectations of this article being published, because I knew that people in the magazine were not too fond of Rameshji's teaching as such, which was all right. But I immediately got a reply from the editor at the time, Suma Varghese. She said, I really liked your article and we will carry it in the next issue. This article I had titled, Destiny's Child is 90. And it got carried with the same title. So I was very excited, and I took the published magazine to Rameshji's home, and he loved the article. I was happy, he was happy. And then he told me, why don't you make this into a book? My reply was that whatever I have imbibed is already in this essay. I wouldn't know how to expand on it. And he said, whatever it may be, just try it. So I went back, revisited the article, and wrote this manuscript out, which was perhaps equally short. It was just points, you see. One Sunday, I took the manuscript to his home. I used to go a little earlier than everyone else. I would go up and spend some time with him and his beautiful wife, do a bit of chit-chat. And so I took it. He said, what is this? He was reading his newspaper on his rocking chair. And I said, you had asked me to try and make that article a book. And here it is. And he was so happy. He had this newspaper in his hand. He rolled it up and gave me a nice, sweet whack with it, saying, at last it has happened. And then he said, you leave it with me, and next Sunday when you come, I'll have read it and I'll give it back to you. Now, I decided to call this book Pointers from Ramesh Balsekar, not because it was literally points, but Rameshji's first book was Pointers from Nisargadatta Maharaj, who was his guru. Now, mind you, that was a fat book and a superb introduction, I would say, to Maharaj's teachings. Anyone who has read I Am That or is very fond of Maharaj, I would have no hesitation in recommending Pointers from Nisargadatta Maharaj. But you see, the only difference was mine was very small and thin, and that was quite in-depth. So next Sunday when I went back, he had handed me the manuscript back and he said, I've written a foreword for your book. That was very touching. To be honest, I was thrilled. And the only comment he said is, it's a really short book. So I said, but that is the way I have imbibed the teaching. For me, it was very simple and to the point. Perhaps it should have been longer, and I think I must have had the expression of self doubt, wondering whether I did justice to the teaching. And he must have picked that up because he immediately said, don't worry. That's the way the teaching went in, and that's the way it came out. Now, I must admit, I thought that he must have felt this guy is really too simple. So it's only that way it's gone in simple points and come out. And then he said, if it was bigger, at least we could have charged more. So that was amazing to see that humor. And then I remember after satsang, I went down to the chai shop where we used to meet, all of us. And the first person I went to is a dear friend of mine, Bianca. And I took it to her and she said, what is this? And I said, this is my first book. And when I told her that Rameshji had written a foreword, she said, really? He hasn't ever written a foreword for anyone that I know. So at that time, I realized I truly had his blessings for this book. And since the book has been out, I have received numerous emails from people saying how grateful they are that the teaching has been so simplified. An introduction to the core concepts of Ramesh Balsekar. And then by and by, they have discovered his books, his videos on YouTube, and so on and so forth. So that is the brief story of the publication of my first book.